You wouldn't expect two players with such different paths to send the same shockwave through the golf world. But as the spotlight shifted to the 2025 PGA Championship and the Charles Schwab Challenge, the atmosphere buzzed, not with certainty, but with curiosity. There was excitement, sure, but not the kind of teeth-clenching, history-making anticipation that grips a sport. The headlines focused on the usual contenders: Rory McIlroy chasing an end to his major drought, Victor Hovland with his surgical precision, Ludwig Åberg rising with quiet calculation. And then there was Scottie Scheffler, world #1, two-time major winner, the man everyone expected to beat. Calm, clinical, almost too perfect to be thrilling, but behind his silence was a storm no one saw coming. That's the thing about dominance. It creeps in quietly. People don't recognize it until it's already rewritten the story. Scheffler stepped into Quail Hollow carrying the weight of history and the pressure of the next generation right on his heels. Rory exuded confidence. Åberg was crafting one of the finest rookie seasons in recent memory. Even Max Homa had his believers. But Scottie? He didn't say much. No hype reels, no bold declarations, just head down, swing locked in, letting his clubs speak for him. And still, the whispers lingered. Can he really keep this up? Will the dam finally break under pressure? It was a question he never needed to answer. Not in words, at least not at first. What came next wasn't an answer. It was a roar. Meanwhile, down in Texas, Ricky Fowler was playing in the shadows. He wasn't the headline. He wasn't even part of the subplot. Once the face of a new generation, Fowler had spent recent seasons rebuilding his game piece by piece, swing by swing, round by round. The Charles Schwab Challenge was another step forward. Not a breakthrough, just another checkpoint. The analysts had all but written him off, solid, respectable, maybe good for a T15. But that weekend, something changed. There was something different. In Ricky's eyes, something old, something burning. No one expected this to be his moment, especially not alongside Scheffler. This wasn't supposed to be a story about them. Not like this. Not at the same time. Not in the same breath. Two players, one at the absolute peak of his powers, the other clawing his way back from the edge. Both about to spark something unforgettable. And then it happened, almost like they planned it. Has golf ever seen a player so clinical under fire? Scottie Scheffler's final round at the 2025 PGA Championship wasn't just dominant. It was a masterclass in control. A methodical, unflinching dismantling of every challenge in his path. Heading into the back nine on Sunday, the leaderboard was packed. Pastrana lurking, McIlroy surging, Åberg still within striking distance. But Scheffler, unfazed, unshaken, turned pressure into precision. The moment he stepped onto the 11th tee, something shifted. One swing, one perfect line, and everything changed. That eagle didn't just shift the leaderboard, it shifted the entire atmosphere of the tournament. In that instant, Scheffler didn't take the lead. He took the crown. From that point on, it was all business. A birdie on 13, a steady par on 14, and a heart-stopping up and down on 16 that reminded everyone why you never bet against Scottie Scheffler when it matters most. The commentators could barely keep up. The lead stretched to 3, then 4, but it wasn't the scoreboard that told the real story. It was Scheffler's reaction. After sinking the clincher on 18, he let out a rare, visceral "yeah!" and raised a clenched fist to the Carolina sky. For a player known for ice-cold composure, it was an emotional earthquake. Even perfection cracks sometimes, and when it does, it thunders. What sets Scheffler apart isn't just his talent, it's the way he wields it. While others ride the wave of momentum, he builds his own. While others feel the weight of the moment, he steadies it. His course management at Quail Hollow was a study in controlled dominance. Never out of position, never overreaching, always thinking 2 holes ahead. That eagle on 11? It wasn't luck. It was the kill shot he'd been lining up for 8 holes. His club was ready, and so was he. His club selection, his tempo, even his posture. It all spoke the same language. Control, not just over the course, but over himself. Scottie Scheffler doesn't chase chaos. He renders it irrelevant, in a championship. Overflowing with storylines, rookie brilliance, McIlroy's heartbreak, a fiercely packed leaderboard, Scheffler carved out his own truth. This wasn't just a win, not just a third major. It was a statement, the kind that doesn't need to be shouted. It just lands, quietly, brutally, inevitably. And yet somehow this was only half the story, because 400 miles away, Ricky Fowler was scripting something of his own. He didn't just show up at Colonial, he lit it on fire. While Scottie Scheffler was commanding headlines at Quail Hollow, Fowler was crafting something equally powerful, but far less expected. The Charles Schwab Challenge was supposed to be just another quiet weekend for Ricky, another T20, another he's still working on it post-round interview. But on Friday morning, something clicked. He came out swinging, literally, dropping early birdies, saving pars with ice in his veins, striding across the fairways like a man with unfinished business, and business was booming. There was something in his walk, something familiar, something defiant. By Saturday, the galleries were swelling, and chants of, "Let's go, Ricky," echoed through the Texas trees. His signature orange was back in full force, not as a nod to the past, but as a symbol. This wasn't nostalgia. This was revival. Vintage Fowler wasn't a memory anymore. He was alive and fully in control. Fans weren't watching a has-been clinging to old glory. They were witnessing a throwback happening in real time. And it wasn't just the scorecard. It was the flair, the creative recovery shots, the fearless approaches, the clutch putts that dropped exactly when they had to. Every time he sank one, the crowd erupted, like they'd been holding their breath for years, just waiting for a reason to believe again. Media outlets scrambled to rewrite their narratives. Fowler wasn't supposed to be part of this story. But by Sunday, he wasn't just in the mix, he was applying pressure. The same man who had all but vanished from the top 50 was now going toe-to-toe with players a decade younger and 10 times more favored. The same analysts who once called him a cautionary tale were now using words like renaissance, resurgence, and redefinition. One headline put it best. He didn't just show up, he ignited the field. Suddenly, the Ricky Fowler brand wasn't past tense. It was present, and it was loud. This wasn't a fluke. It was a message to the critics, to the fans, and most of all, to himself. Because what Ricky Fowler did at Colonial wasn't just about scorecards or leaderboard positions. It was about legacy. A career that once teetered on the brink had just delivered its most poetic punch. He didn't win the event. He didn't need to. He won something more valuable. Relevance. And just like that, Scottie Scheffler wasn't the only one reshaping the season. Was this all coincidence, or the quiet beginning of a new era in golf? Sunday afternoon, 2 different tournaments, 2 different states, yet somehow it all felt like one story unraveling in perfect harmony. Scottie Scheffler, locked in at Quail Hollow, was pulling away from the field with one of the cleanest, coldest back 9 performances in recent major memory. Meanwhile, Ricky Fowler, miles away at Colonial, was storming the Charles Schwab leaderboard, trading birdies with players nearly half a generation younger. It wasn't scripted, it wasn't expected, but it was happening. 2 careers, one at its peak, the other reborn, intersecting in momentum at the exact same time. Golf doesn't do choreography unless it just did. At the PGA, Scheffler's final scorecard read like machine code, 3 fours and flawless precision. And at Colonial, Fowler had rewritten his story, not by lifting a trophy, but by lifting a crowd, a narrative, a legacy. Together, they didn't just play the game, they changed its rhythm. With surgical control, Scheffler went 5 under on the back nine, hit 12 of 14 fairways, and posted the lowest final round score by a PGA champion since 2018. Meanwhile, over at Colonial, Fowler delivered his own masterpiece, a 67 on a demanding Sunday track. He led the field in strokes, gained putting, and played the final 5 holes at 3 under. Both men were flawless in the moments that usually break others. But this wasn't just about numbers. The stats didn't just impress, they told a story no one saw coming. Amanda Balionis said it best in her post-round summary. Scheffler isn't just winning, he's disarming the pressure. There's no panic in that man's swing. It's like he solved golf's hardest equation and keeps rewriting the answer every week. And then there was Ricky. Fans flooded social media in disbelief. Where did this come from? I haven't yelled at a Ricky putt like that since 2015. These weren't just strong finishes, they were reminders of who these players are, of what